choice but to put a preemptive attack against those SAM batteries, which was launched in Wednesday in the afternoon after a morning of collecting intelligence data and updating the exact location of those SAM batteries, which were in the Bekaa Valley.
But the past decade has provided the Israelis with many answers to the missile dilemma. Technologies and tactics have been devised that will hopefully counter the SAM threat.
A ground missile is a very soft target. Once you know where it is, you track it in real time, and you approach it and you kill it like a snake. Now for that you need that type of intelligence. You need real-time intelligence. Now, I would say the array of weaponry that was developed between 1973 and 1982 has brought into play so many anti-missile weapons that if you ask anybody if he wants to be a missile battery commander, when also portray to him what is waiting for him, nobody would want to be a missile battery commander. Answers this triggered from the aircraft side are formidable. But to say that the missile has bent the wing of attack aircraft, far from it. Not in my book.
Our day starts very early. We never know exactly when we'll have a full house, but whatever comes up.
The Israelis have engineered an ingenious but simple tactical solution. Dozens of drones will precede IF Phantoms over the valley. Decoys for the hunters that will follow. As enemy SAM sites light up to track what they think are Israeli warplanes, Phantoms will pop up over the mountains to fire anti-radiation missiles. These will then home in on the illuminated SAM radar sites. E-2C Hawkeyes provide Air Force commanders with a detailed real-time radar view of the region. Every move the Syrians make will be monitored as it happens. Hawkeyes enable Israeli intelligence to reach well into Syria.
In Air Force it's very easy. Whenever you are starting your engines in any airfield in Syria and you start to communicate with the tower, we can tell in Israel who is speaking to whom and when he's going to take off.
With Eagles controlling the sky and Phantoms the ground, IAF commanders orchestrate an integrated air battle that leaves the enemy bewildered. It is the antithesis of 1973. In less than an hour, the Syrian air defense umbrella is virtually annihilated.
We attacked the SAM batteries themselves. They were found exactly where we thought they would be. They didn't move because they were very confused. I think it was a great surprise for them. Before an hour has passed, they were destroyed. We destroyed about 13 batteries and we didn't lose one aircraft in that attack.
The Syrians were launching interceptors to try and avoid the attacks which we had not only on the SAM batteries but on the close air support for the ground forces. And they did it in a panic in some way because they feel that they lost the defense of SAM batteries and now they have to launch their interceptors.
For the Israelis, it is a classic engagement. Here, the F-15 Eagle comes into its own. Here, aerial combat demands near surgical precision. Pilots dare not venture into Syrian or Jordanian airspace for fear of widening the war. And in a fighter jet twisting and turning at Mach 2, this means that time and space are compressed to nearly impossible dimensions.
If you measure the time and distances, meaning that sometimes you get an order to engage, to shut down airplanes, and to get back, and altogether I would say is no more than 90 seconds or 2 minutes. And one should try to imagine what does it mean. You have to get your formation organized. You have to collect all the intelligence information, meaning you have to have in mind the aerial picture before you get in. You have to make sure that you look around to the ground and you're not being shot by enemy missiles. And then you roll in, and then you have to intercept the airplanes, and then you have to see them visually, and then you have to make some setup for the engagement, do your job within a couple of seconds, and press back home.
As the Syrians launch more and more planes, it becomes clear that this will be an aerial engagement of great proportion. Soon, over 150 aircraft are turning in the skies over Lebanon. 1/3 of these are F-15 Eagles. It is the largest air battle ever witnessed in the Middle East.
Sending young pilots to air combat activities is one of the duties of a commander, and you have to have some inner strength to do it. And you have knowledge of them because as a commander you fly with them. I knew them better than his mother from some point of view, so it's much easier to send them to combat activities because you have confidence.
Like the RAF pilots in the Battle of Britain, they fight with the tenacity of those who know that if they fail, their homes and families could well pay the price. For many, memories of the 73 Sam massacre still linger.
Every human being is afraid. If anyone tells you that he does not afraid, ever, don't believe him. But always, I was afraid. Always. But the difference between one man to another is your ability to overcome your fearness. What you have to do, slow down, reconsider yourself in this battlefield, regain your power, your energy, your spirit, and you can overcome. If you can't, you shouldn't be a pilot.
The dogfights continue for 2 days. The frantic pace of combat eases only at night. As the first 48 hours draw to a close, it becomes apparent that the Eagle has engineered a rout of historic significance. The Israelis show no mercy to their Syrian adversaries. In the Middle East, chivalry is a rare commodity that most simply cannot afford. In just 2 days, over 40 Syrian aircraft fall to Israeli F-15's. Many of these kills are MiG-23 floggers, some of the fastest Soviet fighters ever built. It is the most one-sided aerial victory in history. In less than a week, the Syrian Air Force is demolished. The wreckage of nearly 100 Arab jets lies strewn across the Bekaa Valley. The missile has not bent the wing of the fighter, and never again would the IAF's ability to survive the Arab missile umbrella come into question.
Did you see the plane crash?
Of course, 2 planes that shoot here. And some soldier told me that's a Syrian one.
Syrian plane was shot down.
Yeah.
But the euphoria is short-lived. 40 miles to the west, Israeli forces press home their assault on Beirut. They do. The public begins to question a war that many see as not one of survival, but one of choice.
The difficulties came a little later in refugee camps where there were Palestinian guerrillas and the Israelis had to go in and do close-in combat at times with children all over the place, and it was a very difficult, painful process. You know, they'd come home and they would talk about what they had gone through and about how they had taken their APCs or their tanks into refugee camps, and there were these children, and soldiers started talking about seeing this kid who was looked like his own son, and this kind of war that involved civilians and civilian casualties was not what he had signed up for.
Soon, discontent spreads to the most